We get to learn about all the things that have been happening around the state of Washington. We get to spotlight incredible folks that are doing amazing work, either through specific projects like the advisory board, through the executive order, through the Limitless Foundation, or Limitless Learning Initiative, the Regional Challenge Grant, Safe Student Aid advocacy efforts, you name it. So we're going to have a good time in this session. This is our lineup of incredible folks who are joining us today. And I'm going to pass it over to Eric because, let's see. Eric, do you want to introduce our first speaker here today?
Sure. So if it is in the order that we're looking at, that would be Dr. Randy Spaulding, who is the Executive Director of the Washington State Board of Education. And what's really cool about what the State Board is doing right now is that they are imagining what graduation should look like for students across Washington State in a program called FutureReady. And we're about to hear more of that now. And Dr. Spaulding, I really appreciate you being here.
Good afternoon. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Again, I'm Randy Spaulding. I'm the Executive Director for the State Board of Education. I just put a link in chat to, well, someone else did as well. So great, to the Future Ready initiative. I'm going to start with a little bit of background and then I'll go quickly though and kind of get where we are right now on this. So the board's Future Ready initiative is a priority initiative out of our strategic plan that was adopted in 2024. But as that background, the state board is a 16-member board, appointed and elected officials. We have 2 current high school students serving on the board, and all of our board members, including our students, are voting members of the board. Our strategic plan that I mentioned is rooted in the board's area of authority, which broadly, we have this authority around advocating for our system of public education that comes into a lot of the work that we do and connecting with a lot of different partners on that. And then we also have specific responsibilities around high school graduation requirements, basic education, which includes whether looking at what our public schools are doing in terms of delivering a program of education, but also approval of private schools and an oversight role related to charter school authorizers. And then finally, we have a role around accountability and educational system health and school recognition. A core element of our strategic plan is a focus on how the board approaches their work. And so we have a goal to work with community to develop policies that meet the needs of those we serve. And essentially, this is a strategy to work through challenges in our system with community in order to find better solutions. And we do this by placing a priority around authentic engagement with community, often collaborating through a trusted partner model for those who have relationship, for those that we're serving, because those organizations are better able to access voices of those who have not been well served by our system and who may not have been have engagement with policymakers and others that need to hear those voices. So Future Ready is focused around this idea of reviewing the high school graduation requirements. The last major overhaul to the requirements was the move to 24 credits in 2014. And that was a long phase in. It wasn't until 2021 that those requirements were fully implemented. And since that time in 2014, a number of bills have passed that have added or made those requirements more complex in many ways. And a big change in 2019 was a shift from using the state assessment to graduation pathways as a graduation requirement. So lots of change in that space, and we have a fairly complex system. We also have students telling us there are things they want in our system that are not being met, like we heard about earlier in our breakout anyway, was around financial literacy, financial education, life skills. Those are the kinds of things we're hearing from students. So as we're looking at these changes, anything that the board decides to move to, some may require legislation, some things the board can do through rulemaking, but anything that we do would be implemented with the entering ninth grade class. So it's a phase in that has to happen, and the earliest graduating class would be 2031 that would have any new requirements. The current framework is structured around three core areas: the high school and beyond plan, subject and credit area requirements, and the graduation pathway requirement. The board and the task force are exploring several shifts to this framework. And then two areas that I really wanted to focus on for this group are potential changes to the high school and beyond plan and a greater emphasis on financial education and life skills. So I think folks probably know here, the high school and beyond plan is started by seventh grade. We're in the process of transitioning to a common platform for all of our schools to use a common electronic platform. And the plan is intended to guide the students' high school choices for courses, as well as educational activities that prepare them for life after high school. And in addition, the plan should be annually updated and responsive to student needs to create a process for educators to help students to imagine their future and learn how to make that a reality. So students can learn how to make that a reality. As part of the plan, students are also learning about the FAFSA and WASFA, and that's already a requirement in the plan. But it's not a very strong, it's really the schools need to provide information to the students. And so the conversation that we heard from the governor and others that we're hearing from are, how can we strengthen that so that there's a greater incentive for students to access the FAFSA and WASFA. So one of the things that's a key change that's under consideration by the board with our task force is to create some time during the school day for students to work on their high school and beyond plan, and through intentional dedicated time, probably in a credit-bearing course, and that could also include financial literacy and life skills content as well as a piece of that. And then we have been hearing, and that if that course would naturally be a place to put more emphasis on FAFSA, WASFA, but what exactly that looks like and whether that's an explicit requirement that you complete those things is still not something that we've got a recommendation for yet. And we will be talking later this week with our task force about some of these ideas that have been emerging in the last several weeks and months. Also why we're here today, because we kind of want to hear this conversation and what folks are thinking about and how we can really further our own thinking about what makes the most sense as we draft something and craft a requirement, and so what that might look like. So that's pretty much my update, and but open for questions if we have time for that.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Does anyone want to come off mute? My question got answered in the chat. I'm really grateful that we get to be a part of this process with you and that feedback is welcome. That's exciting.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity. So
wonderful. Thank you. And next up, Christina Winstead. Can you introduce our next guest speaker and get us launched off into this one?
Yeah, we have Tyler from Safe Student Aid, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Tyler.
Sorry, I was still on mute. Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler Zamira, and I'm here with Independent Colleges of Washington. I'm so excited to share our Safe Student Aid campaign with you all. And after I am done, I'll be having Malin Carlisle, Vice President for Gonzaga Student Body Association, join me in sharing her story. So, to start off, as you've likely seen in recent headlines, the state legislature inequitably cut funding for the Washington College Grant and the College Bound Scholarship for qualified students attending private, not-for-profit colleges and universities. These cuts are hurting students in the middle of their degree programs and disproportionately affect students who are already furthest from opportunity. 2/3 of these students are students of color, 2/3 identify as female, 2/3 will be the first in their families to earn a 4-year degree, and 1/3 of Washington College Grant recipients at ICW campuses are transfer students as well. So we invite you to join a statewide grassroots advocacy campaign that was started this past session to save student aid. Already, lawmakers have received more than 1,000 emails, and we know the governor and legislature value the input of their constituents. These cuts are hurting communities and employers who depend upon a well-educated workforce. The Safe Student Aid campaign is carrying this momentum into the next session to make it clear to elected officials that these cuts were the wrong decision. We need support from people across Washington. So please join us in standing up for the generation of nurses, therapists, computer scientists, educators, engineers, and entrepreneurs. Students need state financial aid to attend and persist in higher education. These student aid cuts directly and negatively affect thousands of Washingtonians, undermining our collective efforts to meet educational attainment and workforce goals. And we urge your support for restored funding for both the Washington College Grant and College Bound Scholarship programs. With the significant growth in the Workforce Education Investment Act, also known as WEA, we do not believe that reducing awards for Washington College Grant and College Bound students is necessary. I will drop a link in the chat and provide a QR code on the screen. If you click the Take Action button on our site, you'll be taken to a page where you can sign up. Excuse me. Where you can sign up to be alerted when we launch our next email campaign. And with that, I'd now like to turn it over to Maylin, who is a recipient of the Washington College Grant.
Real quick, Tyler, real quick, before you transition over, is there somewhere to send stories in different languages and translated stories? This is a question from Sath in the chat for you all.
We do not have that capability yet, but we can definitely work on that. As you can assume, we definitely want as many stories from as many groups of people as possible. So we are open to that.
Go ahead, unmute yourself. Yes.
Sorry.
Hi, sorry, my name's Mary Chris Castro. Sorry, we're having a lockdown right now. So that will be in the background. But I just wanted to say that a lot of our demographic that we work with are first-time generation students, and their parents do not speak English. And so with FAFSA, it's a really big issue for them because they can't navigate also with the language. And there are a lot of great success stories. It's a lockdown drill. Sorry, we had to turn off the lights and stuff. So sorry about that. I'll mute again.
Thank you. All right, now let's transition and hear from your amazing student.
Yes, Malin.
Hi guys. My name is Malin Carlisle. I'm an incoming junior at Gonzaga University, and I've had the privilege to work with the Independent Colleges of Washington this past legislative session and advocate for these state funding cuts that have impacted my life, as well as many of the lives of my classmates. Just barely making the cusp. I was granted both the college grant and college bound scholarship in my original aid package before the cuts took place. And because of this financial help, I've been able to study both political science and elementary education, work in our student government program. As Tyler mentioned, I'll be vice president next year, as well as build a network that will last a lifetime and chase my dream of advocating for education policy reform. But this issue goes beyond myself, as my little sister is set to enroll in the fall, and I'm beyond concerned about the financial burden she is already facing. You see, these cuts are not just about me, they're about our future. I'm worried for the students who have the dreams and the drive to become something big, yet lack the financial freedom of it coming to fruition. I hope we can all work together to ensure that the future of education is accessible to all, as it is my personal belief that we all deserve to chase our dreams. Thank you so much for letting me speak and learn from all of you.
Thank you so much, Malin. That was wonderful. And with that, we encourage you all to join us as we save student aid.
Yay! Thank you, Tyler. I will also just shout out that there are so many institutions in the independent colleges of Washington that are doing truly unique work that no one else is doing, and we need them. We need their work and their expertise in this way. My daughter is also attending St. Martin's University in the fall, and I'm so excited for her to join you all. And I am also hoping we can get funding in the future as well, because we fall into that same family that you fall into. And I really hope that we can get more funding next year. Fingers crossed. Okay, now this next section I am so excited about because I'm low-key obsessed with the potential of the high school and beyond plan. And I would love to invite Maria Muto to come on over, um, unmute, turn on your camera. I hope you're here.
I am here. Hello.
Oh, yay. Hi.
I was too busy miming walking up, but thank you for having me here today. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you here today, with so many different folks doing just amazing work across the state. As a former high school counselor, as a parent, as an auntie, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to y'all for all that you're doing to support the kids, because not too long till my kids are going to be in the same position. I'm so happy to know there's so many folks doing this work out there. Uh, I am here today, let's get back to the topic, to share more about the current work that's being done to support the post-secondary success of our students through the High School and Beyond Plan, or otherwise known as HSBP, and the soon-to-be full statewide implementation of the Universal High School and Beyond Plan platform on SchoolLinks. So the High School and Beyond Plan is designed to support students in an annual reflection and planning with these three guiding questions. Who am I? What can I become? And how do I become that? These questions are supposed to help students plan and prepare for a more meaningful post-secondary pathway that's grounded in their actual goals and interests, and not something that they're maybe assume that they're going to be into, or that they're being told to do. Uh, been highlighted a few different times, well, I'm sure in other groups multiple times, but we know that developing a solid understanding of what financial aid is and the timely information of how to access it is absolutely key for students and families and their communities around them that are supporting them to not only know about financial aid, but believe that they can fund students' continuing education, and that students can use that to be able to reach their goals and achieve those dreams that they've set for themselves. So the High School and Beyond Plan plays a part in that by providing annual financial aid touch points for students to engage in financial aid learning experiences at every grade level. And that those cover the required elements in, alphabet soup here, RCW 230212. I think I got it. Yeah. We're and that's all about scaffolding and building that student and family awareness, confidence, and understanding of how to fund post-secondary education and training over time, not just a fire hose when they get to 11th and 12th grade, when, there's a lot of other things to think about as well. So each grade level focuses on a different component of financial aid awareness, starting with an intro to financial aid in 8th grade, covering scholarships and grants in 9th. 10th grade, this is very broad, they're more specific, but 10th grade completing cost planning, followed by digging into learning how to complete the financial aid applications and the point of them in grade 11, and providing that support and information that they need to apply when they get to 12th grade. A really cool thing that's called out on this slide is that we have what's called a pulse check. That's actually just like something we're using to help guide our implementation support. But next year, we're going to have something for specifically the senior financial aid activity survey. That's a required part of SchoolLinks and the HSBP. And we're going to have actionable data by December 1st to say whether or not students got the information and support they needed. And we're just really excited about potential opportunities that's going to open up, especially with FAD. And making sure folks are aligned and having an avenue to be like, how can we help? We're here. How can we help you? I Let's see what else was on this slide. It's not on here, but I do want to mention that if you've been in the SchoolLinks platform already, you know that the built-in videos and lessons are geared toward a national audience. We're very happy. I'm very happy to share that next year, those will all be tailored to Washington schools and Washington information. Thanks to Gates Foundation, whoop whoop, if they're in the room, I think they are, for the grant funding to make this possible. OSPI is partnering with the Center for Strengthening the Teaching Profession to develop those Washington-specific resources and plans. We know that is specifically and particularly important in Washington for financial aid components, because as Governor Ferguson said earlier, we are a very generous state. And OSPI, the team here made it a priority to get that information out, and we are working hand in hand with the experts over in WASAC to help make sure that the high school and beyond plan can act as one of those keys for our students and families that unlock the access to the funding for their continued education and training. I have the privilege, I'm just going to mention, try to be quick. I know I'm probably over, but I get to serve on the FutureReady task force, and I get to support with WASAC, and I get to help with Washington Council. I get to do a lot of things over here, former schools counselor, so, used to being everywhere at once. But I'm really excited about how all of this work is coming together. And it's making me very hopeful for the future, especially having spaces like this where we're all aligning our work and coming together and trying to make it cohesive, and we're all working towards the same goal together and not duplicating. Just a quick FYI at the bottom of the slide before I forget, we are making some changes and updates in response to SB 5841, including college-bound scholarship reminders, Washington Opportunity Scholarship information, and the FAFSA WASFA progress tracking and data information that's going to be built in. Those are all still very much in development. And last but not least, you can keep up with us on our webpage. It's linked there, and you can stay connected with us through the Comprehensive School Counseling Program newsletter, which is the vehicle we use to share updates. Ooh, sorry if I took too long. Thank you, everybody. Very happy to be here.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate you. I have one question for you in the chat, but I'm going to move on to my personal bat phone. Everyone to me, Christina Winstead. Just want to just quickly hype up our next guest speaker, because truly I couldn't be doing the work that I'm doing without Christina Winstead and the team at WASAC. They do so much foundational work to support all of these efforts. So if everybody can just quickly show some love for our WASAC team and for Christina Winstead before she shares this incredible update. Thank you all so much. Okay, Christina, it's your turn.
You have me like a different color red. Just I'm matching my hair at this point. Um, Thank you so much. Oh, thank you all so much. My name is Christina Winstead. I'm an Associate Director for College Access Initiatives, and I am a big old financial aid nerd. And so I'm excited to be here with you all talking about the Washington Completes the FAFSA Campaign Advisory Board. What's really cool about this is this in September, Governor Ferguson, like he said in the opening, signed his Executive Order 2508, establishing the Washington Completes the FAFSA campaign. And we know it completes financial aid. And this created an advisory board and has led statewide efforts, has allowed some extra tracking and really developing of goals and efforts like this too. It's like bringing everybody together. So I'm very excited. And I was able to pull some of our lessons learned by request for some of y'all. So what is amazing about this is we know we've all been doing, oops, one slide before, sorry. I'm almost ready there. Oops. First, I wanted to go in and say, yes, I looked at the tracker for NCAN, and we are still 36th in the nation, which I just want you all to give yourselves a round of applause. That is awesome. I am so excited to see this traction on financial aid completion. I know how hard everyone's been working, and we have to celebrate our successes. But also, you will see on this chart here that the financial aid completion rate for Washington is 50%. And we still have part of this, we have the summer all left, and we still have part of spring. So if you look here, you can see May 13th of 25, you can see where we're at, and you can see where we are now. We've had genuine strides this year. It's so exciting. And we haven't even hit our goal yet. We're getting there, but slowly but surely we're edging towards that goal. One of the things we have seen is that over 120 school districts have completed, where over half the students have completed a financial aid application. And so that's another exciting piece, is we're seeing traction across the state. And then next slide. Okay, so by request, you want to know what was working and what we've learned. And if you are an advisory board member, please feel free to, you can raise your hand in here or identify yourself. We are grateful for your work on this. So things that we have found that are working for the advisory board. Number one, expanded partnerships. Like this is an example of it, just being able to expand the partnerships across the state. Legislative interest and outreach have been huge, as well as the governor's support and the advisory board. Really finding that targeted messaging. And I'm going to be the first to tell y'all, I've had to lean into stuff that is a little harder for me when it comes to like when we message students. So for me, I'm always like, yeah, we want to give students weeks and weeks and weeks notice. And then we have found that actually letting them know right before the event, a day or two before, actually increases our not just our enrollment, but our attendance at events for financial aid. So it's been a huge learning process of like, how do we market? But also targeted messages for areas. And you'll hear soon a little bit more about OtterBot and their targeted messaging for regional partnerships. Timing is key. Yes, Darren. And one of the things that I really learned on that is just to trust your experts in it. I know it can be scary hosting an event and then promoting it a little bit later, but we had such a great turnout. New resources, lots of new trainings and event support. So we've been all over the state this year. And I know that other partners, we've had other partners too, like just everyone coming together to support this work in different ways, one-on-ones, virtual appointments, doing huge food truck events, a little bit of everything. Improved DSA and portal account creation process. Shout out to Sean from our team, that there has been more access this year so that people can create those goals based upon actual data. And then Isaac may not be in here, but we have a new dashboard and a WIA leaderboard. And what that is, the dashboard is great for looking at aggregate data on financial aid, but also for completion, we have our WIA leaderboard where you can actually pair up and have a friendly competition between different schools in your WIA league, your athletic league. So what have we learned? The capacity of schools are remaining constrained. I think there's a lot of competing priorities and a lot of budget constraints. So like it is challenging. Not all schools have a connection point to a community organization for local support. So I see all these amazing people in this room and like it just makes my heart grow a million times. But there's more, there's not everyone has a CBO near them. And so it's trying to connect across the state to build this beautiful net like Ashley was showing early in the beginning. The why matters just as much as the how, and it starts way before senior year. And then finally, supporting families to complete the application steps. That's the students and the parents. And so we are working towards that and providing additional supports that way. Overall, we're just really grateful for the opportunity to be here, to be able to look at this challenge through collective impact has been one of the most amazing things. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to present on this today.
Thank you so much, Christina. You're amazing. I'm so excited to learn about all of this. I'm sure everyone's like sitting there with their popcorn, like as we go through all of these incredible speakers.
Well, and the next meeting is June 2nd. Like so like you can see the meetings are on TCW or TVW, whatever it is. But I can put the link in the chat. I'm like calling it the old name. I apologize. I'm showing my age by calling it the name of the TV station was like a decade ago. But yeah, thank you so much. And next up is one of my favorite, the Limitless Learning Network.
Yay, Leanne Davis. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing what you all have been up to. I mean, it is incredible. So please, let's pin Leanne to the top of the share screen here.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Christina, for the warm shout out. So hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Leanne Davis from Education Northwest. And at Education Northwest, we serve as the network manager for the Limitless Learning Network, which is a Gates-funded statewide network of 26 regional partnerships that are all working together to improve high school to post-secondary transitions across Washington. Our partnerships bring together K-12 school districts, higher ed institutions, and the different community organizations to collaborate on barriers that are really keeping students, especially our Black, Latinx, Native, rural, and low-income students, from accessing and completing post-secondary education. We convene as a group regularly, twice annually in person, and we have 5 virtual sessions a year. And then we have several topical working groups that meet to really do a deep dive on kind of different topics or working with different populations or to learn more from each other about things like student and family engagement, or even best practices around data use and even what data are available, or like how do I build a survey? Um, but we, so one of our goals though at the network is to increase awareness and implementation of strategies that will support students' transitions to post-secondary that are grounded in evidence of what works and are also context and place specific. So financial aid is one of our 3 core strategy areas, and I just want to share a little bit about what we're seeing. And I'm going to share some like high-level network-wide things because you'll hear from many of other people on this call later today. You already heard from some who are part of their network, and they're going to share some specific place-based things that are working. Our learning partner, Sankofa, really helps us by fielding a survey every year to help measure what's happening across the network. And the really good news is that awareness of financial aid evidence-based strategies among our Limitless members jumped 14 percentage points in kind of the last year of our work together. We went from 71% to 85%. And then our practitioners' confidence in implementing those strategies went from 59% to 81%. That's a 22-point jump. And we had 90% of our respondents indicate that they're working on financial aid. So this is one of those places where you can come, we are able to capture and work with so many people across the state. And we are really hoping to try to mobilize knowledge and sharing and learning, but also to help build relationships within partnerships and across regions and across the state. But this is also starting to show up in our outcomes, as you can see on the screen. So just note that these are a year old. These are from 2025. But students who are in limitless districts, that's the blue bar, they completed the FAFSA at 52%, which was 4 points above the statewide average that year of 48% for this time period. And you can see these kind of larger jumps. Black students in limitless districts reached 63%, which is well above the statewide average for Black students, which is something to really celebrate. But I think this also tells us where we have work left to do and work that we are engaging in and working on together this year, right? Latinx students, Native students, rural students are still completing the FAFSA at just kind of lower rates. And so we need to keep on working on kind of working with those students and communicating in ways that are culturally responsive and kind of mindful and speak to their scenarios and encouraging them and helping them see themselves in post-secondary education. Our partnerships are really earnest in their efforts to stay informed about financial aid. Network-wide, we spent much of our convening and working group time last year focusing on the ways to support students and families while navigating all the upheaval and uncertainty and distrust in our institutions. And for that, I really do think these 2025 results on the screen are a promising indicator of what happens when we all dedicate the time to work on these solutions together. You can go to the next slide. But that's exactly why we're turning our attention to what happens after the FAFSA. So even when students complete the FAFSA, they still have to make sense of what they receive back. So financial aid award letters are often the first and most consequential communication a student gets about whether college is actually affordable for their family. And right now, those letters vary enormously across our Washington institutions in format and clarity and what they're actually communicating. So we're coordinating a statewide review of financial aid award letters to identify patterns, surface some promising practices, and develop concrete recommendations that institutions can use to make their letters clearer and more student-centered. So if you just read what's on the screen, and if you want to go visit that I'm going to take a screenshot of that link, and I think we'll drop a note or a
We
PDF in
also have
chat
it in the
too.
chat. Yep,
Thank
we've
you
got it in
so
the chat.
much. If you just I encourage you, please read this. We're asking institutions to share de-identified award letters from the most recent cycle with us, with PII removed. But in return, you're going to get a summary of findings across the state, examples of effective practices, and we'll find opportunities to engage with peers in these interpretation sessions. So thank you so much. Please reach out with questions. And this is a really low lift way to contribute to something that could genuinely shift how students and families in Washington are understanding their options. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us into this process with you. I, for one, am so delighted to be working with you on this effort. So, yay. Okay, next up, we have an incredible guest to come share. We're now in the regional recipe section. We're going to bounce back into some statewide work, but now we get into some nitty gritty to kind of see some exemplar groups that are doing this work in our area. And Amy, if we could pin Amy to the top of the Zoom screen, pretty please. Let's just make sure got everything. Amy, are you here?
I'm here.
Yay! Awesome. Welcome, Amy. We're so excited to hear from you. And I will go ahead and mute myself and you can take it away.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I work at a nonprofit. We are based in southeastern Washington in the Walla Walla area. And we're a cradle to career collective impact initiative. My work focuses only around post-secondary access and success. Financial aid completion is a huge part of what we do day in and day out. For a little bit of context, I work at a regional level supporting all of our schools and also our higher ed partners and some workforce partners, and supervise a team of 8 college and career readiness advisors who work directly with students and families. And so you'll hear me talk about them a lot. We call them the CCRAs. And most of this progress that you will see here is due in large part to their efforts. And so when I was thinking about this work, I think there are really 2 main components that have led to some success in the financial aid realm. The first is on this page about kind of a regional approach. And then on the second page, I'll talk about a school, like individual school approaches and things that those schools could try. So first is that our folks in our region, both K-12, higher ed, other CBOs and workforce kind of got together and built a partnership to do this work. We meet at kind of the executive level monthly, and we really focus on systems change for helping think about what post-secondary and access and attainment looks like in our region, and financial aid is a huge part of that. That the partnership as a lever for change has been incredibly powerful because we have the decision makers from all of our K-12 districts, all of our regional higher ed partners, a lot of workforce folks, all at the table prioritizing this. And it's enabled, they're bought in. And so they go back to their organizations and say, we want to prioritize this, and what do we need to shift and reprioritize to make that happen? The second piece is that we have, like I said, I supervise a team who works in the schools, and we have, so we have a lot of human power, and we still very, very closely partner with other, with higher ed partners and other CBO partners in our schools to deliver all types of post-secondary advising, but especially for financial aid completion. So we are situated in southeastern Washington, and we are our two closest community and technical colleges both have financial aid outreach specialists funded through HB 1835. And those individuals have helped so much, especially in the trickier financial aid completion scenarios where a family might have, a bit of a more unusual situation. And those staff have been so good at helping problem solve the tricky cases. We also come together 3 times a year as all of the individuals doing this work in the region. So We meet monthly at the kind of executive level, and then all of the people doing the work, the boots on the ground, we come together 3 times a year to share regional best practices and learnings and carve out team time for individual buildings to think about how they want to approach financial aid and other college access work. The number 4 here, financial aid, and that wasn't a typo. I know it looks kind of funny. This, I think, is the most important thing that I'll say today, is that financial aid is an incredibly important step in college access, but it is not enough. Financial aid without a plan for what to do with that financial aid doesn't serve anyone, except it looks great that we have high completion numbers. And so we really think about what else does that mean? What is the and? What other supports do our students need? What other supports do our families need? What other supports do our schools need to be able to take that financial aid and successfully enroll and persist towards a degree or credential? And so the way that looks is, we have asked our school partners to provide time during the school day to have students focus on scholarships applications, because that is another a huge piece. Even with our generous state financial aid, there are many students who are not fully funded, especially when room and board is factored into to the equation. Thinking about application days and events, again, during school time. We have found that using school time to work on many of these pieces is incredibly effective. We've also played around with some structure around how to best support Running Start students. It's been a persistent challenge where Running Start students are kind of caught in the middle between the high school and the college. They're supported by both types of institutions, but not fully supported by either. And so what we did is we put one of our staff at our local community college to support post-secondary access work just for Running Start students. They are not employed by the college. They're also not employed by the district, but they work with a caseload of just Running Start students because many of those students are very well situated to continue their post-secondary education with the credits they've earned while in high school. And many, we were seeing when we looked at the data in our region that many of those students weren't continuing and just didn't know how to navigate the difference in enrolling as a college student versus enrolling as a Running Start student, and needed those kind of supports. Secret sauce here. This is the people and training, like intentionally hiring and training folks who are diligent and work hard and really deeply care about this work has been our secret sauce. We've seen pretty incredible growth. I mean, the data here on this slide, the star is where we are now. And this doesn't even actually capture, this is the best available public data. This is Walla Walla County, but we also support Columbia County. And there are a couple of very small schools we don't support in Walla Walla County. So for the schools and the districts we support, our completion is actually higher than this. But you see a huge jump from not only from last year, but the slope of the curve is steeper. So we're excited to see that momentum, and we still think there is room to grow. Next slide, please. So pivoting a little bit from kind of a regional approach to an individual school approach. And so we work with a whole bunch of different high schools in our region. They range from like large comprehensive to very, very small with graduating class of 10 to 15. And we implement these strategies in different ways in partnership with those schools. The first is one of our high schools, kind of a medium-sized high school, implemented financial aid as a graduation requirement for this year with very reasonable opt-outs if completing financial aid didn't align with a post-secondary pathway. And we have seen the financial aid completion numbers in that school just grow so much this year. And then with the rest of that support, the post-secondary planning support, it's not just that financial aid numbers have grown. These students have a plan. And we've supported them with applications and scholarships. And then also, what are the enrollment steps to get that student able to actually matriculate come August or September? Another number 2 here, this is probably the foundation upon which the rest of this work rests is that we have created school-based teams. We call them post-secondary ecosystem teams in every building where we work. And those teams are composed of at least one administrator, teacher, counselor, other CBO staff, so GEAR Up or communities and schools in our region, and then our college and career readiness advisor team as well, so that we set goals at the beginning, and then we work towards them over the year and we assess in this cycle of continuous improvement. It has really helped with a full school buy-in model because there are teachers, there are counselors, there is administrators, and to really think about this as helping to shift the mindset about what high school is for. What is the goal of high school? Is the goal of high school to get students a high school graduation or a high school diploma? I would argue it's yes, and it is to prepare them for what is next. A high school diploma is not enough for many of our students, most of our students in Washington State, and so this kind of full school approach has really helped with that. And layering on, we have done all staff professional developments on a variety of topics, but relevant here around the availability of financial aid in 2026. It is very different than when most of us who are here went to college. And helping teachers and other adults in the building understand that and not talk about college as being so expensive and not worth it because of the newly available financial aid that didn't exist when they may have gone to college has really helped shift that adult mindset in buildings. And it has allowed for greater collaboration within the schools. We're talking about doing this work during the school day at school. It has helped to kind of unlock those possibilities.
And then we're running a little bit short on time. How would you summarize the rest of it?
Yes, thank you so much. I think for us, it is really trying to meet students and families where they are and provide that continuous tracking and that one-on-one follow-up has been what have really made the difference for us. So thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's time today.
Thank you so much, Amy. You are a gem. We are looking up to you, and I cannot wait to connect with you after the summit to learn more from you. All right. Next up, Kathleen Solomon, one of my favorite people on planet Earth, is joining us today. She is our educational advocate from the One to Many program with Futures Northwest. She is also the Lummi Higher Ed Manager at LIBC and on the Lummi Nation School Board as a chairperson. What doesn't Kathleen do? So if we can pin her to the top of the screen, let's see. There we are. There's Kathleen. Hi, friend. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited that you're here.
Good afternoon.
Oh, wait, I can't hear you. Let's see. Try speaking again.
Hello?
You're just very, very quiet. Try again.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Oh, it's still very quiet.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me take off my...
Oh, wait, it got a little bit better. Everybody turn up your volume and I'll try to talk quiet. Okay.
Well,
Everybody turn up your volume. Okay, awesome.
In June, I will complete my term as the chairperson of the Lummi Nation School Board. This role has been significant learning experience for me, and I'm so committed to improve educational outcomes for my community. I also take great pleasure in being part of the Futures Northwest One to Many project, where I serve as an educational advocate, helping individuals and families with FAFSA application and college preparation. Every outreach effort we undertake is vital in helping students gaining access to college opportunities. We always emphasize that the first step in the process is completing the FAFSA application. I'm very grateful for Futures Northwest and their generosity in providing gift cards to local stores for our students who complete the FAFSA application. I have many one-on-one relationships and just build build that over the year with new students and their parents. And I get excited around this time, around graduation time. Uh, we are informing families that attend college is both possible and affordable. I view the completion of the FAFSA as a key indicator of success in my outreach efforts, and it enhance both education and economic outcomes for our beautiful state, Washington.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. You are an absolute gem. I'm so grateful that I met you long ago when we started the From One to Many program. You've been with us from the beginning. And I just want to hype up some of the results here that we're seeing, because in 2024, this was the completion rate. And through Kathleen's role on the school board, was able to implement a policy and had it voted on, to have financial aid completion as a graduation requirement. And it went from here to here, and it's a 39% increase. That is an incredible legacy, Kathleen. And that's not without support too. So other people have mentioned, we're doing lunchtime support sessions at Lummi Nation School 3 days a week in the lunchtime, just back to back. Those build on each other. So if you can, as an organization, do 3 days long or 2 days long, it really, you being there becomes a building presence. And Kathleen attends all of our financial aid events that are in the area as well that she can attend. She also sends email reminders to all of the families that she has access to contacts for, and shares it on social media. She attends the Johnson O'Malley Foundation and PAC meetings, Futures Northwest workshops, Ferndale High School guest speaking and tabling. Kathleen is literally, when you said the secret sauce was people earlier, I'm yes, Kathleen, you are it. And I'm so grateful for all the work that you're doing. Sage is going to drop the From One to Many link in the chat. If anyone else is curious about running a program like this in their area, we would love to help you get it supported.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
my mic's not working properly.
That's okay. No, it's a lot better now. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kathleen. Next up, we have the incredible Christy Gutierrez from the College and Career Readiness Advisor at Kalama High School. Did I say that right? Let's go ahead and get Christy pinned up here on the... Yay! Wonderful.
Perfect.
And then I don't know what I did here. Let's see. My screen. Did that work? You can see your
Looks
screen.
great.
Okay, fabulous. Take it away.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for letting me join and just share a little bit about what's going on in our neck of the woods. I'm at Kalama High School, that's how you say it. And I'm actually part of the Horizons grant through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and we're down in ESD 112, which is Southwest Washington. And a lot of our other college and career advisors are at an event today, so I came to share all of this with you all. I'm specifically going to share about what we're doing at Kalama High School, and then a few notes on what the rest of the group is doing across Southwest Washington. Just some things that really have helped our numbers and helped our students with access to all of this. A couple things that I mentioned on there. Right now, during spring, I meet with as many juniors as possible to individually to find out, really solidify what their plans are. And not all of them have, something nailed down, but I take copious notes and I have different sheets on what their plans are, whether that's 4-year, 2-year, military, apprenticeship, etc., so that I know who to follow up with urgently as senior year begins. Then what we did last year was we did try its own financial aid night, but what helped even more was being at the senior night, graduation night, whatever your school ends up calling it. They gave me my, 5-10 minutes of fame, and I was able to talk with parents and seniors together about financial aid. I was able to throw out some of the myths and misnomers that some of the parents a lot of times hold. especially for those who've never been to college themselves. I was able to kind of squash those and talk about how now is the time to get this going. Again, remind them that I'm here for assistance. Then after that, I began meeting with as many seniors as I could individually, including pulling in the running start students, which we know are hard to capture. So I connected with our high school counselor and I let them know, hey, anytime a running start student comes in, send them my way. I just want to make sure they're good to go, see what their plans are and how I can help. So that was a good collaboration there. Follow up in the springtime, because I've been keeping these sheets, I know who to follow up with, those who are either undecided, still kind of not sure what they want to do after high school. I follow up with as many of those students as I can come February, March, and April. Several students in the last few months have already changed their mind. You know what? I am going to go to community college. Let's get all these steps going. One of the secret sauce things that I found, and I've only been there for a year and a half, maybe rounding at our second year of the program, is come January, I look through all my notes and see which students have started their part of the application and which ones are not complete. And I begin calling parents. And that was very nerve-wracking at first because I've been in higher education for so long where you don't call the parents. So now I am, and that helps so much. If you take a look at the graphs in January, that's when the second really, steep spike hits, because now I'm following up with the parents, and not just students who've started the FAFSA, but those who I haven't been able to track down and should be starting the FAFSA. So then we're able to answer questions, invite them in for help. I've met with several parents this year, helping them complete the FAFSA. So that's just sort of the secret sauce that I found at Kalama. Just a few other things that have really helped. And again, someone before me had talked about people and collaborations. Within the Horizons grant, we also have navigators at Lower Columbia College, Clark College, and Washington State University, Vancouver, who've all been coming to the schools. And one big thing that they've been doing this last year is coming into the senior classes, like civics classes. For us, we had like an Adulting 101 advisory class. They're coming in during the school day again and helping students do their FAFSA right there. So that has been huge, that partnership and bringing out people. They hear from us all the time and we become like mom, just sort of downing on. But then when you can bring someone from the schools, it's almost like it's official now. So sometimes they take that a little bit differently. It's been really helpful. So those are just a few things that we've been doing at Kalama and some of our other schools around the Southwest Washington region.
Thank you so much. And I see that Drew raised his hand. Senator Hansen.
Christy, this is great. When your secret sauce poll, what data source are you pulling from to identify these students, and what fields are you looking at?
Yeah, so I really am just using the WASAC database to see which students have completed. But on my own, as I'm meeting with students, I've got a separate, spreadsheet, so I know who has started or who has completed the student side. So then as I'm comparing between my own notes and the WASAC database, which parents have yet to complete their side. So then I know who to follow up with.
Perfect. So WASAC database tells you if someone's completed or if they, have submitted but with errors, or if they haven't even, they've done nothing. And then you cross-reference that with your own spreadsheet about, okay, the problem is the parent hasn't completed, or the problem is the student hasn't completed, or maybe you have nothing. That's what you do.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Right. Now, I say that, our graduating class, I think we have about 73 walking this year. So scale, we're rural high school. So it works
with enough bodies,
in that way.
You can do that everywhere. So, okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yep. Perfect.
Great question.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that wisdom with us. And I know we are running short on time. We are supposed to be taking a break at this moment. Well, we have a couple other presenters. So if you need to grab a bite and, drink some water, run to the bathroom. I don't know why I can't advance the slide right now. This is a special problem. Hold on. I'm going to stop share and reshare. Da, da, da. Okay, let's see here. There we go. We have Christina Winstead coming in again, and we're also going to put all these resources in the chat for you all to have access to. But Christina, can we pin Christina back up at the top here? There we are.
I'm back for a
Excellent.
second time. I'm talking about
Woohoo!
WASAC updates. I'm going to make them quick for y'all, and I'm putting a couple things in the chat. First up, the WAFSA. So the WAFSA is going, we're doing a redesign on the WAFSA. And I just wanted you all to be aware of it. We will have a new WAFSA for this upcoming school year for the 27-28 award year. What I'm so excited about is it's going to look at data privacy, accessibility, and the user experience. And it's going to format on tablets and phones, just like everything else in a much easier way. I'm excited because it's also looking at what do we really need to collect? So it's not going to follow the same exact questions of the FAFSA. And I'm here to tell you, I know you might be like, oh, wait, I want to know more. Don't worry. I promise you, solemn promise, we will have trainings. We will have trainings on this so you'll know everything about the new WAFSA. And if we have an in-person training, you know me, I will have emotional support chocolate to get you through it. But just wanted you to be aware of those changes that are going to benefit students. Next up, we have, and Sean's going to put the link in the chat, but we have the Trusted Messenger survey. So you're trusted messengers. You're supporting students, and we want to make sure we hear from you so we can make the best resources possible. And the best way to do that is to get feedback from y'all. And when we talk about special sauce, the reality is y'all are my special sauce. You have the most amazing brains, and we love to hear from you. You have so many good ideas. I learned so much from you. So please give us that feedback as we do that Trusted Messenger survey so we can make even better materials over the summer. The next thing I have for y'all is we're going to do a financial aid offers and appeals workshop in July. We're doing it in July because there's a delay on the financial aid offers. There can be a little bit of a delay because there's an ICER change. So they changed the layout of the ICERs, and it's a little harder to do some awarding. So there might be some delayed awarding, and we wanted to be proactive and offer a session to help navigate that. So we will have that, and I'm going to put it in the chat as well for you. And then finally, in our very quick Fast and Furious updates, we might be talking to the class of 26 and reminding them it's not too late to apply. You've got time you can still apply, don't worry. But it's also time to start talking to our class of 27. So we have our class of 27 nights that start next month. Students will have their own session, and parents have their own session. Parents will be able to learn about financial aid with a group of parents and caregivers so that they can become knowledge keepers, but also so that we can teach parents about this process so students don't have to. These sessions are always offered in English and Spanish, thanks to the amazing team in College Access Initiatives. Yesleen, my partner in College Access, and I will be providing these in English and Spanish. And next up, you're going to learn a little bit more about OtterBot. And if you have questions for me, since we're short on time, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can catch me at break.
Yes, thank you so much. And Sam, can we get Sam up on the board here, pinned to the top? Sam Washington is the Assistant Director of College Access Initiatives with the Washington Student Achievement Council, someone who I have the absolute pleasure of getting to connect with regularly because Futures Northwest is one of our regionalization partners. Hi, Sam. Take it away.
Hi. Thanks, Ashley. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I know I stand between you and a break, so I'll try to be brief, and I'm happy to answer any questions after. My name is Sam Washington. As Ashley mentioned, I'm the Assistant Director with the College Access Initiatives team. And for those who don't know, OtterBot is a human-powered SMS-based text messaging service that was launched back in 2019. The program launched as an open support for Washington State students that primarily served college-bound high school seniors, providing information on financial aid completion. But since that time, we've expanded to now support 9th through 12th grade students and their parents and guardians. And now the support also includes academic supports as well as college application support, in addition to the financial aid support that I mentioned. In the 2024-2025 academic year, we began a grant research partnership with the Axum Collaborative and 5 partners across our state Futures Northwest being one of them, with the goal of this ongoing work to evaluate the impact of localizing Otterbot messaging and providing students a pathway to those local supports within each of those regions that you see here on the map. The localized support is in addition to the foundational outreach that happens with the Otterbot text messaging service. Highline Public Schools is our sole school district partner, and Futures Northwest and Launch Northwest are our nonprofit community partners. These three partners specifically represent multiple schools within their region, bringing great diversity to the learning that we're able to take away from this project. And then Quincy High School and Elma High School are our two school-based partners. And with these folks, we get to approach the learning from the lens of those spending their daily lives with the students and supporting them in person. And so in collaboration with these partners, we've been able to develop customized messaging for the chatbot, embed those local events and supports and activities that are close to the student. And we also have been able to create new logos, as you see here on the screen, to align Otterbot more closely with the partners for better recognition amongst the students. In addition to all of that work, we've also had the opportunity to visit our partners in person, which has been really cool, and support their events. And most recently, we've been able to visit them to run some design sprints within each of our regions. This brings students to the table to help shape the messaging so that it can be more relevant to their experience and hopefully connect better across the state. This has actually happened so recently that we've yet to compile all of the information. But anecdotally, what I was hoping to share was that, first, students are very interested in receiving support in this way. Second, there are a lot of, I think, misconceptions about how we communicate with students and how students want to be communicated with. And then third, where school-based staff were able to participate in the design sprints, we noticed that students were much more enthusiastic about participating in the design sprint activities, furthering that notion that information from the trusted messengers is better received than from just a general statewide chatbot that's texting them. So as we head into the summertime, all of what we've learned will be shared more formally as WASAC and AXUM move into publishing the findings over the last 2 years of the work that we've been doing. We will also broadly incorporate a lot of what we've learned into the overall program so that all of the student users may benefit from what we've taken away from this research. And then we'll also be looking into ways that we can further localize the bot across the state as well. So supporting this work over the last 2 years has been really fun. Super excited to share all of those findings with you all very soon. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Sam, and everyone.